we've lined up the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
From a certain point of view.
Oh, geez. Obi-Wan. Well, it is May 4th. It is May 4th. May the 4th be...
I feel like Alec Guinness action figure is the wrong one to have because he's the only person that hates Star Wars more than Harrison Ford.
It's true, but he's dead, so who cares what he thinks, right? Yeah, there you go. Your opinion doesn't matter anymore. Way to be dead, Alec Guinness. You didn't force Ghost like everyone thought you would. But yeah, it is Star Wars Day. Normally, we try to avoid talking a lot of Star Wars here on the show because it is obviously one of the most heralded and popular movie franchises of all time. And while we do both have a very, very, very special place in both of our hearts for the Star Wars trilogy, and I say trilogy, Star Wars has kind of has left. I don't know. Jay says he's getting a little bit of audio problems. Is there some audio problems going on? I hope not. Can you describe these audio problems? I mean, it sounds good in my headphones. I don't know if you guys are. Sounds fine now. Okay, cool. All right, perfect. Anyway, it is, it's a sore subject for a lot of really, really big Star Wars fans because Star Wars has sort of spiraled to a galaxy far, far away from everything that we knew and loved.
Yeah, because you have Leia supermaning through the vacuum of space like that ain't no thing after she survived like a murder explosion. You got Luke projecting himself all the way across the galaxy and having a friggin' lightsaber fight and picking up stupid dice that no one ever remembered or cared about, and it's dumb, and they just rehash the same crap that you've already seen probably twice over.
I know. It's terrible. It's gone completely off the rails. Because money. But before we get too deep into just talking Star Wars tonight, because we're going to talk Star Wars, we're going to talk some favorite moments, we're going to talk our least favorite moments. We're going to be talking about, because if there's two dudes that can geek out on you on Star Wars, it's us. And we're gonna have some fun tonight. We haven't prepared this at all. Actually, we both kind of forgot this episode was gonna be the May the 4th episode. We had both prepared other things to talk about, but we don't really need to prepare to talk about Star Wars. So anyway, but there is some stuff in the news that I wanted to talk about. Speaking of sequels that aren't necessarily anything that we asked for or needed, I don't know. Did you hear about this, Grib? Did you hear about this, Jake? The Demolition Man is set to have a sequel right now because thank you, Internet.
A sequel?
I think,
So John Spartan is going to come back having full knowledge of how to operate the 3 shells?
And having full knowledge of what to order from Taco Bell.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah.
Well, I think the Taco Bell thing will probably be over because he kind of helped crash that empire when he found out that they were hoarding all of the food and not sharing it with Dennis Leary, who collected cool muscle cars and performed sex with body fluids.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
You don't perform the sex with the body fluids.
No,
not in the
and
future world.
He used swear words and didn't care if he got a ticket for it.
Yo, dude, that's a lot of
Because
tickets.
he lived
got.
underground like a cool dude.
Demolition Man.
Demolition Man is so cool.
It's a pretty good movie. But I'm kind of excited about that. But I'm also kind of like, why is this necessary? Why are these things happening? We've got.
I mean, there's plenty that they can continue off of for Demolition Man. I mean, I would prefer.
Is there though? Is there
I
a
would
Demolition
prefer for it to be a
universe that we
standalone.
really need to get?
Well, yeah, because you have Stallone as John Spartan. He comes to the future. He's the only one that knows the old ways of like riots, L.A. He's not afraid to say swear words and use body fluids and punch people in the mouth. And then you have Sandra Bullock's character who's like, oh, this is actually kind of cool being a human being instead. And then you got Rob Schneider who's there.
I mean, he's always there.
Being Rob Schneider.
He's in all of the. Why did he get into all these movies? Like, who goes? This movie. It's fun. It's exciting. It's action packed. It's got drama. It's got suspense. It's got people getting killed. You know what it needs though? It needs a little bit of He's a little Rob Schneider.
Pump those brakes because Surf Ninjas rules.
But he ruined.
Quan Su, dudes.
He ruined Judge Dredd.
Wow! Don't say that. No. There was a lot that ruined Judge Dredd, but it's still
Rob Schneider.
It's still the best Dredd. If they would have called him anything but Fergie, because he wasn't Fergie, King of the Big Stinky, he was some tech whiz character man that was never in the 2080.
Okay. Well, what about that? What's that movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme where it was about the exploding jeans, where they put bombs on the? You know how you have those little snap things on your blue jeans? Well, there's a movie. I think it's like Jean-Claude Van Damme and our main man here, and they're trying to stop all these imported jeans because they're exploding pants. What is the name of that movie? Anybody in the audience that has Google wants to search that one out?
You got me.
Rob Schneider, like, come on, man. Deuce Bigelow.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. I'm thinking of the two lions, or Lionheart, and the one where he's in the ice hockey rink, and then where he has the mullet and he punches the snake.
That sounds like all of his movies.
Yeah, they're sick.
Dude, yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Why did we start talking about Rob Schneider?
Because Demolition Man sequel.
Man. So in other news, in other fun things that are happening, Star Wars related. Well, I'm gonna save that one because it's Star Wars related. We'll backtrack a little bit. But one of the things that I did want to talk about, we actually, I don't know if you heard about this. I mean, you probably have because it's Tiger King news related. But Nicolas Cage. Trying to get signed on to do a Tiger King role. I think that's a little bit insane.
I had read about that, yeah, and it was like one of several planned scripted adaptations.
Yeah, what ridiculous! But it's because if it's popular. If it's popular, then it's going to get made into. It's going to get stamped into the annals of hatred for. It's what happened to Star Wars. They're writing another Twilight book because movie money. But speaking of movie money, something that I did want to spend some time talking about before we go. Oh, you had something there?
I mean, are they going to bring Robert Pattinson back in? I don't know how Twilight ends. Does he die? I think he lives, right? And are they going to have Batman vampire?
Who knows?
Or is it going to be a crossover where you have the vampire Batman?
I don't think they're going to. That's too. They're not going to do that. There's no way they'd do that. There's no way. Not enough fan base. They're not going to make a movie just for you, Jake.
I mean, I'm just saying if they started making Elseworlds DC movies, that would be pretty sick. You could have a Gotham by Gaslight live action. You could have Dracula Batman.
We don't need steampunk Sherlock Holmes Batman movies.
You could have the Shogun Justice League one where they're all in like medieval Japan. You could have like a Red Sun live action. Elseworlds DC movies would be sick.
No, we don't need that. But we need to talk. What we do need to talk about. We need to talk about the Universal Studios, now MGM, getting into the fray. But something I did want to talk seriously a little about before we just go completely bonkers talking about Star Wars for May the 4th. Is I've read a lot of stuff. A lot of people kind of on both sides of the argument here about. You may have seen it online. Universal Studios releasing Trolls 2, I guess it was. Trolls Who Cares is what I'm calling it. And they released it on VOD. Of course, I think it was like $20 a pop. You could rent for your family. You could watch it as many times as you wanted in a 48-hour period. And it made a lot of money. It made like $100 million or something like that.
Yeah, it made $100 million in 3 weeks, whereas the first Trolls made 116.3 or something in its first 3 weeks with theatrical release. So they determined with that it was a viable form of distribution.
Yes, and here's where and everybody at home is like, well, I like having movies at home, so why can't I have movies at home? Screw AMC. No one goes to theater anyway. It's expensive. Popcorn's expensive. I don't even want to go. I mean, COVID paper jams. Theaters are dead. And it's like, A, shut the F up, and B, let me drop some information on you. So Hollywood and the theater community and all of these things, it's a community, a web of interdependence that has lasted since the dawn of Hollywood. And way back when, and this is something we've talked about on the show before, is and this is when Netflix and Amazon were getting into the movie production game, and how they wanted to get nominated for Academy Awards and all of this sort of stuff. And there was antitrust used to be a thing that people gave a shit about here in the United States, and monopolies and commerce and all this kind of stuff and all that. But back in, the heyday, the quote-unquote golden age of Hollywood in the 50s and 40s and 50s when the silver screen started to show up in those walkie-talkies and colors and all that kind of stuff where everybody was all about it, there were MGM theaters, like the Chinese theater that's really, really famous was owned by a studio, and only that studio's movies were shown in that theater originally. And that was pretty commonplace back in the day. It's like, okay, well, sorry, Lando. The theaters that produced these movies also held the keys to the distribution. So you could only go to one of their theaters to watch one of their movies. And then there was a big famous ruling. If I had prepared earlier, I would have gotten the name of it. I've talked about it on the show before, but it basically, there was a lot of independent theaters that, everybody got together and said, hey, this really isn't fair. And we're seeing this right now with Disney, who has the power to do it, to really stamp out all these other businesses, because we're focusing everybody's choices of entertainment down only one pipe. And so there was a lot of legal battles that were fought and won in favor of theaters to have exclusivity rights for movies that were published and distributed for a certain period of time after their completion. And I mean, Hollywood still wins because they get a ginormous cut of that. They get the biggest cut of that. And and then it's like, okay, well, we're going to show it in theaters, then we're going to ease it into rental, and then you're free to do with whatever, and you can go sell those DVDs or VHSs or whatever. And then since video on demand has happened, that's kind of opened up a new category of on demand streaming services, and it's moving so fast, much like the Napster game that happened to the music industry, where the MPAA didn't really know what to do with Emule, Livewire, Napster, all these file sharing services, and are like having to scramble to figure out how do we get people paid that need to be paid for the distribution of this goods and services. Well, what Universal's doing is going, well, pandemic, we're going to cut out the middleman that we're kind of in agreement to actually support and allow to show these movies. We're going to screw them because right now we can make a shitload of money by doing it. And the theaters are like, hey, we had an agreement. We have been supporting you for 100 years, literally 100 years. In theater, I think, what was it? Malco even turned 100 years old recently. It's old. I mean, movie theaters, it's an old business, and they have been supporting these distribution companies the whole time. And now it's like, okay, in our time of crisis, the studios are like, screw off. We're making our money. deal with it. And so there is legal precedent here, guys. And, just like the Sony Spider-Man Marvel Cinematic Universe thing where everybody's like, oh, Disney, why can't Sony and their stupid mouth shut up so we can have more Spider-Man in the MCU? It's like, well, Disney paid for it. Would you want somebody coming over to your house and taking something that you bought because they just decided they wanted it? No, that's not how shit works. And, you have to understand that there are things at play that are bigger than the fact that you just want to sit on your couch and watch Trolls 2. So the theatrical experience is an important, critical part of the movie experience. And I am definitely on the sides of the theaters in this one. And AMC made the bold move to step up and go, screw you, Universal, we're banning your stuff.
Yeah, the country's largest theater chain was the first one to step up in accordance with the National Association of Theater Owners to tell Universal that if they're going to release at home and theatrical at the same time, that they won't be having it. And the CEO made a very public letter that said, we're not showing any of your movies, which is a big bummer, because not only is Fast 9 already pushed to next year, but that means AMC will not be screening any of their films at all.
Well, I mean, boo-hoo, I won't see Jurassic Park, World, Jurassic Universe 19.
Universal is a big studio.
It is, and I'm a humongous fan of Universal monster movies. Have been my whole entire life. I don't know if you look in here.
Good thing that Dark Universe flopped.
So I'm not too worried about it. But, and just now, MGM is getting sued for similar things by distribution going straight to VOD, because they're breaking contracts and good faith agreements with industries that are symbiotic to the success of Hollywood. A lot of people, piracy is pretty commonplace and pretty prevalent these days. And as someone who has worked in the films, there are movies that I've pirated. I will neither confirm nor deny that. When I was under 18, and I think there's statute. Whatever. It's didn't happen. Theoretically, if I had pirated movies in my life, let's just say that. But as a person who's worked in films, the only time I would ever do is if I really just can't access it any other way. I mean, I'm a guy that likes to pay for my stuff. But here's the rub. I've had to explain to people who are like, oh man, screw the studios. You're not screwing the studios when you pirate those movies. What happens is the next production that studio makes, guess who they're not paying? The boom op. Guess who they're arguing with their day rate? The craft services manager. Guess who they're not going to pay an actual workable wage for a 16-hour day rate? The PAs, the grips, the people at the very bottom of the totem pole that actually make this. I mean, it's just like what's happening right now in our country with COVID. It's like, oh, well, how do the guys at the top figure out how to not take a hit when all this crazy crap's going on? Well, they pass the hits down to the guys at the bottom that can't do anything about it. And so when you're pirating those movies, that's who you're robbing from. Tom Cruise is still going to get his cut. Vin Diesel's still going to get his cut. John Cena's going to get his cut. The producers, Jerry Bruckheimer's going to get his cut. They're not going to take a hit. But the dude that is in the tiny scroll at the end of the movie that you already left and didn't sit and watch, that guy's getting totally bent over because you're downloading it on the internet. And that's how that works, man.
Well, since you mentioned his name, actually, shout out to John Cena for being just one of the coolest humans ever. He's still out there doing Make-A-Wish stuff in all of this right now. And he's granted more Make-A-Wish than anyone
He grants
ever.
Wishes? Is he a genie?
No, come on, man. But he's still out there doing that right now. On the real, shout out to John Cena for being a cool dude anywhere except for in the wrestling ring. So
you can't see him. Anyway, yeah, shout outs to John Cena. Shout outs to wrestlers.
And you know what?
Anthony says the virus can't see him.
Johnny saying that downloading is how he watched Battle Royale for the first time. I was going to say a lot.
Yes.
If I'm not saying that I did download films or television online.
But if I were, it was movies that are hard to get a hold of.
It was almost exclusively foreign films that I could not get any other way, including things like Battle Royale or the entire library of Stephen Chow movies, up to Shaolin Soccer and Kung Fu Hustle, which were available in the U.S. Though, if you purchased Shaolin Soccer on DVD and chose to watch it in the dubbed format, then you were missing at least like 20 some odd minutes of the movie. They edited it on top of already horribly dubbing it. So just another reason to never watch dub.
Theoretically, if I were to become a huge fan of Takeshi Kitano, that's probably how I would have acquired all of his movies.
And purchasing VCDs or downloading may or may not be how I've watched some of like Kurosawa's movies that
theoretically
were difficult to get a hold of because they hadn't quite been tossed into that Criterion collection just yet.
So as Carl says from YouTube, Carl says accessibility is a big portion of bootlegging, and that's absolutely true. And that's where I give a little leniency to my diatribes on my soapboxes to people that are pirating movies. Is if you're downloading stuff that you just can't access, that's fine. But if there's a small run movie that you're like, I don't know this director, and I don't want to pay $3.99 to get it on Amazon, then screw you, dude, because that guy, that director is probably like sitting there refreshing his Amazon like manager account, going, oh, we got one more view, hot diggity, I can feed my kids. And I actually know some shout outs to Derek Sims, who's living in New Zealand. He's got 2 movies on Amazon, and I know that's what he does. Is just like, oh yeah, here we go. Somebody's watching my movies. I
just got hit by one of these comments.
What?
They canceled Ernest Day in Tennessee.
What?
Are we talking about Ernest P. Worrell?
Yes, Ernest.
You can't do that.
Was that Johnny? Was that a comment?
Yeah.
Because he was supposed to go to Ernest Day, and he was going to report back to us, one of our longtime fans and listeners. Oh man!
Man, if Jim Varney was still here, he would tell the dog pork chop, or that was from Doug. Rimshot? He would tell Rimshot to throw the truck in reverse and say,
Vern,
eat bumper booger lips, and he would show COVID what's up.
He would.
But
he would save America from COVID.
Yeah.
Ernest saves. Or destroys. Ernest destroys COVID.
Yeah. R.I.P. Jim Varney, man. That's
Jim Varney. Shout outs to you pouring one out for our homies.
Ernest Day would have been awesome.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if they had carnival games and they had like the trolls and you shot them with mother's milk because
like there
crazy
was
Catwoman told you to.
Snapping turtles on parachutes that had also prizes in their mouths.
Yeah, and you could take a picture as Santa because you occupy the role of saving Christmas.
Oh, dude, you could save Christmas with Ernest this summer. A virtual Ernest experience. Yeah, that would be... Get on it. Mark my words, it's going to be a thing.
Well, that just warms my heart to know that there is an Ernest Day.
I know.
Jim Varney rules.
Well, speaking of days, today is May 4th, and I promised you we'd talk about Star Wars. It is the unavoidable topic at hand. There is some big Star Wars news that was announced today. Taika Waititi, in no freaking surprise, has been signed on to do another Star Wars movie because guess what? I guaranteed, I've already guaranteed it when I saw The Mandalorian, and that came true, but... The Taika Waititi formula, the Guardians of the Galaxy, gun style, Waititi style, now Thor Ragnarok, that is going to be, all of your favorite properties are going to turn into dick and fart comedies.
Yeah,
that's what's going to happen.
How much Hulk butt are you going to have to look at in the Star Wars movie, huh?
Well, it goes back to the scene in Mandalorian. A lot of people are like, guys, my favorite scene in Mandalorian when them 2 stormtroopers sitting on them speederbacks were talking about drinking beers and goofing off and being dumb dicks. And it's like, that's not Star Wars. That's a fan video. That's a fun fan to explore. But that's not what we should. That's not. No.
I was just watching and reading this article the other day about how humanizing stormtroopers is straying so far away from what the entire purpose of a stormtrooper is, which is to be a faceless drone that's there for
and that's why
being
it's bad.
out. And then when that's
why you want to hate the Empire.
They took Finn, humanized him, took his mask off, and then 2 seconds later have him killing stormtroopers and like, woo, getting hyped on it. And it's like, well, you can't humanize them
and then also murder them with
and then
them.
cheer about murking them out, you know. And so every time you try to do that, you're kind of missing the entire purpose of Star Wars and those characters and the fact that they're called stormtroopers, like fucking Nazis. Like, come on, dude. Like,
they were designed to be hated, and they were designed to be faceless clones, and they're designed to be like dehumanized meat that the Empire was using for nefarious purposes. They're not going to sit and have a beer and be funny. They're going to be like, yes, sir, I'll murder these babies. And you're supposed to be, God, I want all those things eradicated. Mm-hmm. And they're supposed to be abominations of science. And, you know,
yeah, they killed Brewmaster Smith.
Yeah, and that's unacceptable. And you know, and that's why I'm shaking Princess Leia around, is because I'm just
that's not just any Leia. That's the real badass Leia. Like, hop down the garbage chute, fly boy. Let's go. Yeah,
you two dumbass knuckleheads trying to save me. Guess I'm gonna save myself because I'm a bad bee.
Yeah, episode 4 Leia rules.
So, you know, and this is a part of our problem with where the new Star Wars has deviated. And you know, this is a thing that we talk about not frequently, but every time it gets brought up, is, you know, some people are like, well, Star Wars needs to appeal to a new, younger generation. And I was like, well, is this new, younger generation, like, full of Jell-O in their brains? Like, you know, the first original trilogy, if you put it in front of them first and say, hey, watch this, they'll go, wow, that was a really awesome movie. I'm a Star Wars fan. You can literally put those movies in front of everyone, and they go, those were great. But, you know, you go, no, you only need big special effects and titty milks and boogawoms and baby Yodas and all this kind of stuff, because that's what that's what young people like. No, people want to be engaged. People want to be challenged. People want to hear good stories. And when you catch them in the fields, like when you see Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, like roasted crispy style on the plains of Africa, being like, wah, 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 3 moons, and you're just like, oh no, I'm gonna get those motherfuckers. And like, you get in it. But when you go, this is pod racing, like, that's
oh, you took it from me. I was supposed to be able to hit on the now this is pod racing at some point in all of this. That's just the best to yell out anytime something sucks or is just so dumb. You just go, now this is pod racing.
And you know, that's like,
well, see, and all the poop and fart jokes and dumb stuff and nonsense didn't come in until episode 1, and everyone has this sense it's like, well, Star Wars was always for kids and stuff. Sure, but it was for a very broad audience. And
it was not just for kids. It was for everyone.
He took timeless tales from medieval stories and fantasy and high fantasy and epic adventures, and he brought them all together into what became Star Wars. He took inspiration from all of these Kurosawa movies, bringing in characters like C-3PO and R2-D2 and friggin' Obi-Wan Kenobi and Princess Leia. They're all just rips from a single Kurosawa movie,
Hidden Fortress.
Mm-hmm. And you brought in these samurai epics and these high adventure medieval fantasies and princesses and generals and people that the hero's
and
journey
stuff, like dads and moms and sisters, and
you get that whole hero's journey of Luke from being just a nobody desert boy to being someone that has inherited the Force, which is not midichlorians, but is the Force, and he murks out a planet-sized weapon controlled by the most evil people to ever traverse the galaxy. And then you're like, oh, you want death sticks and friggin' naked camel turds, and you want like whatever dumb nonsense 7, 8, and 9
Yodas
put forth.
And it's like, you know, going to Baby Yoda, it's like, okay, George Lucas can steal from Hidden Fortress, but we don't need Lone Wolf and Cub. You know, that's what we've already taken from one classic.
Well, and Lone Wolf and Cub isn't supposed to be some sort of comedy. Lone Wolf and Cub was that there's this samurai and he has this infant with him, who's more than meets the eye, but at the same time, he has to care for this kid, but he's some sort of Ronin assassin man who has to try and keep him away from that world, but somehow keep him alive in that world. Lone Wolf and Cub is very good.
It's fun. It's very fun.
And Chicky Nugs
is
not
a part of it.
Yeah.
Let's do some shout outs here. Saying hey to Tony Garrett, who's checking out my watch party on Facebook.
Watch parties?
Dude. Josh is saying he's currently watching A New Hope for Star Wars Day, and Carlos tells us to preach, keep preaching the good stuff. McLean, he says we want scenes with the main trio of the trilogy before the final film in the trilogy. Yeah, you're not wrong there. And if you guys want to join into the comments that are right here on the right hand side of the screen, you can go to our the Drive-In Speakerbox Facebook page or YouTube page, so that when we go live, you're not just in the you're in the main chat, not the watch party. So.
Shout out to everyone, all my family and friends here in my watch party too. But yeah, if you want us to be able to see and interact more conveniently, hop in the mainstream. Get on there. Do it on YouTube, Facebook.
Because we can see these
for you.
They're right next to our faces, so we can read that.
You can tell us how much you don't like that we don't like where Star Wars took itself.
So, as our producer just said here in the comments, hoping that the internet connection holds up during the storm. I don't know if you guys live in the Northwest Arkansas area. I know a lot of people viewing right now don't, but for those of you that do, man, we've been getting golf ball to tennis ball and even baseball size hail today. So if the show just cuts out abruptly, then that means, we can. I don't know if you can hear it raining, but it is coming down.
Yeah, it's supposed to get bad again tonight. But yeah,
it was like Hoth here earlier with ice just flying everywhere.
Well, yeah, just a mile's difference was from quarter size all the way up to like a navel orange size. Not quite a tennis ball, but bigger than a neck-sized golf ball.
It's big hail. So if we do end the show abruptly, then that is your preemptive warning of what's going on, because I think we're about to be under a tornado watch. I think around 10 o'clock. So there you go. So we're definitely going to get out of here before 9:30. But anyway, Star Wars is one of those things that has impacted generations outside of just the generation that it was filmed for. It's one of the most unique properties that has sort of, and this was a thing that we've talked about here on the show, because we've been doing, this Drive-In Speakerbox has been around for like 15 years. The problem that Star Wars had when Disney got it is, unlike franchises like Star Trek or, The Simpsons or even the Marvel Cinematic Universe, these are properties that have tons and tons and tons of content that's out there. But for whatever reason, Disney decided to poo-poo on a lot of the content that was created in the Star Wars universe, with a lot of the amazing novels and a lot of all this other world-building stuff that's happened over the past, several decades. And they were like, nah, we're going to start it over, base it off of the 6 movies that have already been made, and that's not a whole lot of content, and the problem is that content had such a loyal and religious fanaticism.
I've talked with several people where we've shout out to Arlie, if you ever
Rachel.
watch our show. He and I have talked. We both had bookshelves, and I hate that I'm admitting this in front of any of you people, but I had an entire bookshelf arranged chronologically in the Star Wars timeline from BBY to ABY of everything in Star Wars. I had all the novels up to New Jedi Order, because when they murked out my boy Chewie in the first novel, I was like, well, I'm done here, obviously. But I had the Young Jedi Knights, I had all of the X-Wing, I had the Lando and Han Solo adventures, the friggin' Shatterstar where Luke and Leia fight Vader, all the cool stuff where Anakin was actually kind of
all the cool Clone
guy.
Wars and
all that stuff. But nope, completely undone. A lot of those characters gone and erased forever. Which really sucked about all of the New Jedi Order stuff, or not New Jedi Order, but the just Luke's Jedi of the future. Like Kyle Katarn.
Oh yeah, a lot of cool characters that we're not going to have any bit of. I just realized that the Baby Yoda shirt that you gave me for Christmas is sitting up there on the shelf, and I should have been wearing it today. Although I don't want Baby Yoda to touch me.
How did it get there? I'm kind of interested in Jay Rom's Star Wars conspiracy theories over here. That
What's Jay saying? What's
he's saying that Shmi Skywalker, when they're watching the pod race, puts her finger on a skeleton man in the audience, and it shows him. And then when you find out she's dead, the skeleton man shows up again. Getting into some weird Star Wars.
What about
Backstreet Boys or NSYNC showing up,
but what about
E.T. actually being part of the Senate?
OG super conspiracy theory that the main man, the main Sith behind all of this was Jar Jar Binks.
No,
you guys remember that conspiracy theory? Jar Jar's the real Sith Lord. He's the real one.
Yeah.
And then talking about Palpatine in his Palpatine churn-out factory on a robot stick, being like, I'm gonna shoot lightning at you as long as it bounces off your face and continues to burn my face, but I will continue to shoot lightning until I eradicate myself.
Like he didn't learn his lesson the first 2 times?
Yeah, dude. You'd think you'd learn how to use Force lightning a little better.
Yeah, because Mace Windu's like, lightsaber. And he's like, oh no, lightsaber, the only weakness of Force lightning. Who would have known that who I would use this against would have a lightsaber? And then
I've only been in a planet thinking about this for decades.
Yeah. And then he's like, okay, cool. Well, now I'm gonna murk this Luke dude in front of his dad. Murk. And then he's like, nope, pick you up. And he goes,
oh no,
it can't stop. It can never stop.
And now all my Force lightning causes everything in this tube to explode.
Yeah. And then
except
he's like,
me somehow.
Yeah. First time, shame on me. Second time, shame on you, Vader. Third time, you're getting it, Ray.
Dude.
And he's like, oh no, again.
My face, but I can't stop melting myself.
Unlimited power.
I want this, don't I?
Idiot.
so stupid. Jinx, you owe me a Coke. Yeah. Boom. There we go. I'm a Coke Zero man, but hey, shout outs to our neighbors here, where Tyler is. We're in this building where our studio is at, and one of our neighbors. Shout outs to Cadillac Jackson. They have a practice space here in the same building, and they're tuned in. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for Donna, Dina, Maureen, Kevin, Dave, all these people tuning in. Thanks for checking us out, and of course, like and subscribe, follow us. We talk shit on movies every week. Fayetteville, at facebook.com/DriveInSpeakerbox and youtube.com.
Sometimes we praise them,
We do. We actually do.
Irvin Kershner directed Empire Strikes Back. It's one of the finest films ever made. And I think it was my first of the 10-day posting that I just finished on our Facebook page there. I had Yoda's hut on Dagobah there back when there was only one of them.
So, okay, favorite scene... Because I know we're only going to talk about the three, the trilogy, the original trilogy.
Oh, but that means we're cutting out my boy Qui-Gon, and Qui-Gon's the most influential and pivotal Jedi ever.
So then we've already covered that. From the other ones.
He came back through the living force.
It's just because you like Liam Neeson.
Everyone likes Liam Neeson. Also, Qui-Gon Jinn was the Dr. Doolittle of Jedi in the books, and he was super cool, and he taught Obi-Wan and Yoda how to come back to the living force, and you wouldn't have Force Ghosts without him. Qui-Gon is the most baller dude ever. He's the one that found the Chosen One. Qui-Gon did all of the heavy lifting.
He has a set of skills, Jedi skills.
Yeah.
And he uses them until he got freaking murked by Darth Maul.
That was the will of the Force. And he straight up knew that, dude. Because that's the only way that Obi-Wan would be able to train Anakin. Yeah, it's all there. Qui-Gon's the best. All right, there you go. That's covered. It's done. I'm over it.
Qui-Gon is the favorite thing of Jake here in the entire...
Oh, hey. Probably, but Kinlan Vos is pretty cool. And Kit Fisto is really cool.
Kit Fisto reminds me of
Katarn,
a Master of the Universe action figure.
Kyle Katarn and Luke Skywalker are like the only two people who treaded on the dark side, and they're like, you know what? Not for me, but I'm going to keep some of these powers, preesh. And then Luke just shows up and chokes Gamoran Guard, fat piggy boys. He's like, out of my way, piggy boy. And he's like, he's like, I'm on my way to murk out Jabba.
Yeah, those are definitely the piggy boys he was looking for. So, okay, A New Hope. Number one, what's your favorite scene from A New Hope?
Oh, jeez.
I've already said mine.
What was it? Oh, yeah. I don't
and then
know.
it's like doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, and he's all like rage driving, like everybody does when they're mad, and he's in the speeder going back to the Jawa thing, and he's all like, "Oh, I'm gonna get him!"
Like I kind of want to say, Chewie playing the chess game, you know. Yeah, Ki-Adi-Mundi cool, but Ki-Adi-Mundi gets murked out like a fucking bitch. But so did Kit Fisto in the movie, and that sucks, and it's dumb. And so did Mace Windu, and so did everybody in that room with Palpatine, including Sausage 10 and all the other cool ones. Hey, let's not get sidetracked by how many Jedi names we know and embarrass ourselves with.
Yo, I like
Jedi
Droids.
Starfighter is a sick game.
I really like the Droids cartoon show.
And
Sorry.
if we're talking about video games right now, we need to go back to where I think Johnny mentioned the Clone Trooper FPS game, which was awesome.
We're talking video games. Dude, X-Wing and TIE Fighter on the PC.
Yeah, or Jedi Knight with my boy Kyle Katarn. That's what I'm saying.
Dude.
In episode 4, it's either going to be where Chewie plays chess just because it's like a really good classic scene there, or maybe it's where Luke is reunited with his friends and they're all hopping in X-Wings and they're getting ready to go to battle because it's
just like shooting womp rats.
Well, no, but it's like all of the
That's when you get
World War II
wedge. You
footage
get that wedge.
that they took and they based all of that off. It was young people fighting for a difference. They were excited about the cause, and they knew they were going into battle, but they knew they were doing the right thing.
It was a classic war movie battle scene.
So the prep to the attack run on the Death Star, all of that is, because you get that World War II
Porkins
footage and stuff. Yeah, but you know what he
Red
based
Five's
all that
kind of
off
alright.
of real footage. That you can find the footage. There's behind the scenes stuff and everything where they just shot for shot recreated actual aerial dogfights.
Luke, you're targeting
like that.
computer results.
I don't know. Probably all of that. The lead up to battle.
Okay, all right, covered that one. Favorite scene, A New Hope. Favorite scene, Empire.
I can't do that.
Yes, you can.
No.
You can do it.
How many minutes long is Empire? That's
see
how many good scenes there are.
Just to me, there's moments, and I've explained this at length to some people that had the accident of getting me started on this kind of crap. But to me, so many of my favorite Star Wars moments are quiet moments, those in-between moments that the new Star Wars movies just don't have. Like my example with A New Hope was the scene where
emotion and feeling
yes,
and weight
I know.
and depth.
What? And like the scene with Luke where he's seeing his essentially parents die. They're dead, and it's no dialogue. It's slow. There's an orchestral beats. There's you really get to feel that emotion and that depth of character to make you feel for the drive of this journey they're about to embark on. And for me, in Empire Strikes Back, it is a very simple, very quick scene that I absolutely fall in love with every single time I watch it. And it's when the shuttle bay doors close on Hoth, on Luke and Han. And Chewie and C-3PO and R2-D2 and Leia are like having this moment, like coming to terms with they're never going to see their friends again. And it's quiet, and Chewie screams, and R2's like, meow, meow, meow. And then C-3PO doesn't have a quitty comeback. He just kind of puts his hand on his pal, and it's like this moment where all these characters actually care, and it's such a, and it's quick. It goes by really fast, but I love that moment that they took the time to make that moment when they could have just been, oh, here's a monster, I'm cutting his face off, and tauntaun guts, and smells like farts, and they didn't go all that in. They just take that moment, and I love that scene. I love it.
Or what about the end where Luke and Leia and the droids are standing there on the medical ship after Luke gets his hand?
Yeah.
And they just they look out
that is
into the
ending.
galaxy.
Whoa, that is an ending. You want to talk about an ending that didn't need a cliffhanger, but set up a cliffhanger that was just all the connective tissue you needed between two pretty awesome movies. It didn't need to kill a mini boss. It was just like, hey man, kind of killed a mini boss, but didn't it at all. It just told the story, and there was a place for it to end that made sense and left you wanting more.
That's what I'm saying. There's too many, because you have where Yoda's being all happy-go-lucky and stuff, and Luke is just being a brat, and then he just he shrugs and he gives up, and he's like, I can't do it. But
cannot
then
teach him.
Obi-Wan shows up, and Luke's like, oh, snap. Okay.
How do you get so big eating food of this kind?
Yeah. You have, oh, man, you have, like, Cloud City because you got Lando just being smooth dude. But when he activates Lobot and you find out that Lando's not like a traitorous butthole man, he's just trying to protect his people too. But then he activates Lobot to come like save all of them.
Dude.
Empire is
rules.
the coolest.
Empire absolutely
The whole
rules.
Battle of Hoth at the beginning with the music.
Dude.
Everything about Empire's cool.
Dude,
You
Empire's cool.
can't, You can't do one for Empire.
Okay, so Empire favorite. I think that we covered favorite.
The
scenes of Empire.
runtime. The runtime of Empire is my favorite.
That's favorite. Okay, Return of the Jedi.
Oh shit. I don't know, because there's where Luke and Vader are in the elevator and they're walking down the hall and they have kind of like their family moment where Vader's like, you know what? You built your own lightsaber. You're like a full-fledged Jedi. I respect everything about you, and I hate that I have to take you to the Emperor, but that is
But then
what
Luke
we
was
have to
just
do.
like,
And he's like,
I'm not
get it.
afraid of you anymore.
Yeah,
and he's
and-
like, Dad, I'm here because I think you're better than this.
Yeah.
And that's an awesome scene.
Yeah, you have that. You have Nia Noom in there co-piloting the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Jedi rules. Jedi is so cool.
Well, in Jedi is really when you see, I think Jedi solidifies the Millennium Falcon as a character so hard that we can't stop seeing this clunk of junk in every single Star Wars movie that's ever made now, because the Millennium Falcon became such an important character by the time that, Jedi rolled around, because you get to see the connection between Han and his ship. You get to see the history that it had with Lando. You get to see how badass it is leading the charge and flying it. And I think in Jedi it flies in more sandwich-like spaces than any ship in any scene that it ever does.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, we're a pancake. Watch how many pancake obstacles we're able to fly through. And, the Millennium Falcon really starts to flap its wings.
Jedi 2, you have where the whole plan to rescue Han comes together. Where Boba Fett gets murked out, and if we could just kick Johnny out right now for saying Jedi rocks, get
Jedi
that
rock
out of
does
here.
not exist.
No,
that is Lopty Neck.
yeah,
my
Lopty
friend.
Neck
It
is the
Lopty
only
Neck.
one. Just like the original Ewok ending is the only way to end that. Don't jump to the other planets. Don't ruin the song. Don't take it out. No, I'm talking original.
Yup, nup.
Yeah.
Yup, nup.
Yeah, that's the way to do that. Oh, Max Rebo, dude.
Max Rebo Band.
Max Rebo
You can't
rules.
replace Sny Snoodles with a Muppet.
When the whole
Get out of here. Sny Snoodles was the sexy lips that the Max Rebo Band had front, and you can't make her a backup singer, and you can't CGI her.
but where the whole plan comes together and everyone but Lando is like a badass in the fight, because Lando is just getting grappled on by the Sarlacc pit.
I thought you were blind.
Yeah. But like Leia chokes out Jabba, and then she fires that big cannon into the ship after just like taking all these bad dudes down. Luke
And I
is
like
just
that
chopping
they
up everybody.
totally left C-3PO out of the plan. They were like,
He's gonna give it up.
He's gonna give it, and you see, that, and it didn't have to go. That's something that the newer movies, they didn't make C-3PO the butt of every joke like they do in these other movies. He just happened to be the butt of every joke because of the context of the scenes, because of the way his character was built. When he interrupts Han from getting his smooch on, it wasn't like womp womp womp, it's C-3PO. It was just like, shut up, you're ruining it, dude. And everything happened so natural, just like in Jabba. They didn't go, well, we purposely excluded you from the plan because you're a knucklehead, and they make a scene out of it. You just know they did, because R2-D2 had the lights. He knew everything the whole time. And was keeping his little beat bop sealed. But then, C-3PO was like, what's going on? And they're like, shut up, we got this. And it's just those little moments that make it so good, that make it the new ones so bad. Guys? And it just got so quiet. I think the storm is calming down. It's the eye of the storm. But anyway, So of the and we're gonna go here. I know this is gonna be controversial, and as I keep kicking the camera, I'm sorry, you guys, because I'm probably gonna trigger Jake here. But of all the new movies, I'd have to say Rogue One was probably my favorite.
Episode 1, yeah.
Rogue One.
Episode 1, yeah. Qui-Gon. We already. Yeah.
Rogue One.
Right. Qui-Gon Jinn. Episode 1.
We can agree that there's one involved.
Now this is pod racing.
And the scene where what's his face? What's his name? The kid.
Anakin?
Yeah, well, I know it's Anakin.
Jake Lloyd?
Jake Lloyd. Like, they take him up to that industrial ship, and then he gets in there, and his like, hat's too big, and he goes, "Oh, geez, Mr. Wilson!" And then, like, the ship just blows everything up like a Three Stooges episode. And then
you talking when they put him in the Naboo starfighter, and they're like, "Stay put," but he's like, "No way, dude, lock and load," and he starts just like taking out the droid decals and like flies to space on autopilot, and then he takes down a Trade Federation ship on his own without having a single clue what the hell is going on, because that is pod racing.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the scene that is essentially Jamie Lee Curtis from True Lies, where she drops the Uzi and everyone dies.
And it just bounces down the steps and takes out all the bad guys, and she goes, "Whoa!"
Exactly. Yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
Look, he's all just like with his dumbass glasses on.
Yeah, and then all the other starfighters like, "Whoa, it's one of ours! Look at him!"
Yeah. Oh, wasn't he cute? Now that's pod racing.
Well, that's when he says it. Is when he's escaping the when he's flying through the droid ship.
God, that was the dumbest crap. The dumbest of craps. So dumb.
Yeah, if we want to talk about best Star Wars movie, Spaceballs is the best Star Wars.
Spaceballs is one of the best Star Wars movies.
You know, I can tell you straight up my favorite scene from Spaceballs right now, where they're combing the desert.
Oh yeah, we ain't found shit.
We ain't found shit.
Surrounded by assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
How many assholes are there? Oh, sir. Like everybody. Keep firing, assholes. And just the annoyingly long ship going over.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, may the Schwartz be with all of you.
May the Schwartz be with all of us. I mean, our Schwartz may be bigger than those of yours at home because, hey, we've been practicing with it a lot longer.
I do hate it when my Schwartz gets twisted, though.
Yeah, you don't want to twist his Schwartz.
I'm pretty sure Lone Star could whoop Han Solo.
Well, he was Planet of Earth in Independence Day. You know, he's got, I don't know.
President.
Did I say, what did I say?
Planet
He was
of Earth.
Planet of Earth, President of Earth.
Chewie could probably take on, Mog.
Oh, yeah.
Barf.
Chewie's going to beat Barf, no problem.
But I don't know, the princesses, they're going to have a knockdown, drag out.
That
man.
would be
Vespa and Leia, it's going to get
that's neck and neck.
mean.
And I think Pizza the Hut would take out Jabba the Hutt because no one out pizzas the Hut.
Yeah, pizza, you delicious baby. He did eat himself, though.
He did. I mean, wouldn't you if you were that delicious?
Yeah, but he was also Dom DeLuise, and that's awesome.
Yeah. Shout outs to Dom. Shout outs to Star Wars. Shout outs to May the 4th be with you. I mean, it's one of those things that we do get frustrated by the trajectory of the series now that Disney has taken over it, but it doesn't mean that it hasn't been monstrously impactful on both of our lives, and that deep down inside, you know, we still love it. We still love it.
I do have the newest Star Wars game. I haven't played it yet, but I got it only after I saw that, a couple of epic...
Breaking my TIE Fighter.
Wow, a couple of epic Darth Vader scenes, and I was like, well, I don't know, I have to, just because Force Unleashed is so good, and I wish they would have kept that canon. What are you doing, man? All the Jedi Knight Dark Forces games are so good.
TIE Fighter has like exploding action, but it also, you know, this was a really expensive toy, and like it broke immediately. It was like one of these remakes of the old original Kenner, but they did it up real nice, and it was like super pricey. And I have the original, and it doesn't look as cool as this one. The wing doesn't want to stay on anymore because they have these buttons that you push it and it blows apart with blow apart action.
You know what's fun to look up and find if you really want to get some Star Wars in, but don't want to necessarily stick with the base movies? That dude who spent however many years doing a one-man animated TIE Fighter short.
I saw
you can find that and watch it. He did it like an anime style.
I saw the Broadway one-man Star Wars way back when. It was pretty fun. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, was it about as good as the Christmas special?
Can neither confirm nor deny. It was actually a lot of fun. Actually, if you dig one-man shows, which is kind of an acquired taste, and I don't even think I like them that much, but it was fun. It was pretty cool. I mean, you have to be a super fan, obviously, to get in it, but it was cool. That was cool. Tyler says Jedi Fallen Order rules. We're gonna love it.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm gonna start playing it soon. I got a couple other games that I'm playing through and beating right now, but I'll do it here sometime when I get ready to sit down and play through it.
Did you like Knights of the Old Republic?
No.
You didn't? I like the style of it. Was really
bent
cool.
lore and
in ways that you just couldn't accept.
Things. Yeah, exactly. Like Jedi using twin-bladed lightsabers. That's not okay. Irked me real bad. Because in the books, they talk about that, and that was a Sith-only trait. And one of the Sith ghosts in the Yavin temples that Luke encounters, they were like one of the first to do the twin-blade bullcrap. So giving that to Jedis and having them be able to choose like white blades and stuff, I hated it.
So do we even need to get you started on Kylo Ren?
I mean, Adam Driver's really the only thing that held any of those movies together.
Agreed.
He's the only one that seemed like he gave a crap on set, which I found that he did Kylo method acting for at least the first movie. He wouldn't talk or hang out with any of the other crew. He would eat lunch by himself in costume.
Just be angry emo boy.
Yeah. Way to go, Adam Driver, for just
Adam
being
Driver's a cool dude.
Really good at all his stuff.
Yeah, Arkansas boy.
He's from Arkansas?
Little Rock boy.
How about that?
Yeah, Kylo Ren. I mean, just those last movies.
Man. Oh,
man.
yeah. Star Wars rap. Thanks for coming in with that, Carl. Oh, man. I used to know the whole thing, like about the Emperor and Vader. The V to the A to the D-E-R Vader. Rocking the Death Star. Dude, you got to go watch it. I'm telling you. You never watched that old Flash animation?
I remember like the days of Newgrounds and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Matt says XR Coon for life, boy. Coming in on the Facebooks.
Everyone has their favorites.
And that's the thing that's fun about Star Wars. That's why it's touched multiple generations. Oh, here it is. We're doing it.
This goes way back.
It's not the east or the west side. No, it's not. It's not the north or the south side.
No, it's not.
It's the dark side. You are correct. In front of the Empire, to all you Vader haters out there, blow your planet up.
What does thy bidding, my master?
It's a disaster. Skywalker after.
What if he can be turned to the dark side?
Yes, he'd be a powerful ally.
He will join us or die.
We got Death Star.
We got
Death Star.
We got
Death Star.
This is so dumb.
We got
Death Star.
We got
Death Star.
We got
Death Star.
We got Death Star. Man, you know that we got it. Death Star.
This
Oh, wow.
circa the year 2000. There's no way we can play this whole thing.
Where them two droids I asked you to clean, boy? You clean your room? I'm glowing. I know I'm
Oh my gosh.
I clean the droids. Can I go to the Hachi station?
To the Hachi station?
This probably brings back so many bad memories from my mom of having this audio track burned onto a CD and having to listen to it on the way to school all the time.
Oh my gosh. All right. That's. Oh wow. There you go.
Yep.
Dang.
Sorry, everybody.
You're welcome for all that. There it is. Star Wars Gangsta Rap Special Edition. Bringing it old school. Star Wars has touched so many people and so many. It's been emulated, copied, parodied. in every form of merchandise you can possibly think of. I mean, if you've never watched any of the movie or the television show The Toys That Made Us, there's a really, really good episode about Star Wars toys, because it was one of those things that nobody wanted to make these toys, and then Kenner took a chance on it and really changed the way that movie merchandise
invented movie merchandise.
Yeah, it was never, ever, ever the same. I mean, thanks to guys like this one, this little original Lando. I used to still do in store. I have so many Star Wars toys. It is crazy. And I need to go out and get some of them, put them here in the Drive-In Speakerbox set. But it's just, Star Wars is one of those things that it's one of the only movies in the world where if you meet somebody that's never seen Star Wars, it's like a record scratches and everybody in the room goes, "What?"
Well, that's kind of what I was saying there earlier, is that it was just such a universal story for those first three, because it borrowed so heavily from world culture and tales that had prevailed for hundreds of years and been carried through the times and were timeless. And there were things that they brought in so many different things and people, and they made everything diverse, and everyone had a background. If you really look into it, every droid was given a name and a background, like EV-99. Why does anyone know who his name is? Because he had one, and there was something there for people to be like, well, this guy's interesting right here. You know what I'm talking about? The scene in Empire where all of the bounty hunters are lined up. Why do each of us know all of their names? Because there was something...
Because IG-88 rules!
Yeah, and there was something interesting there. And Star Wars was one of the first movies that really came out that had an established universe, and they didn't try to spoon feed it to you and be like, well, this is the reason that exists, and here's why this, and here's a bunch of exposition.
It let your imagination fill in the gaps.
It was a filled-in world, and you were brought into the middle of it just like a real story, something that occurs and is part of it, and there was something there, and then you don't have that anymore.
Not anymore. Everybody's like, well, we got to explain everything into extreme minutia so that we can make 100 billion hours of content, quote unquote content, which is again one of those things that it's cringy when you call stuff like that content, because it's not, although the way they make it now is. So,
did you want content? Google up jizz whalers.
I don't think I'm ever going to do that.
It's Star Wars.
I don't think I want to. Is that a safe search on or off situation?
No, don't do it. But that's the Cantina band. That's the music they play, and that's what they're called. Yep. Fun Star Wars facts. Star Wars just weird. It has all sorts of weird things.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, man. There's a lot of fun.
Why do we know Max Rebo? Ayla
Because
Unduli.
Max Rebo is the sickest dude in the galaxy. What a smooth OG sitting around that keys, just tickling them, whatever they were made out of, like
Space ivory.
Space ivories. But yeah, how weird is it?
Maybe they were made out of crate dragon's bones.
Probably. Who knows? A carbonite. Don't get me started on Carbonite, Mandalorian. We don't want to go to. We're just trying to be happy about Star Wars and celebrating all the things that we really, really love. Jay reminds us of Star Wars Kid.
Yeah, back when Star Wars was fun, and there were people that could
like looking
genuinely
forward,
enjoy it.
Like when the re-releases came out before everything started to spill into to hell. There was such an amazing feeling of getting to wait and get in line and have Star Wars fever all over again when they did the re-releases back in the 90s. And
and then you found out that they were ruined.
Screwed them up.
Yeah, but it did make it where you could buy remastered VHS with enhanced sound and all of that. I did have those. I had the remastered, not special edition, so that in episode 4,
these?
Yes, exactly. There we go.
There we go, right there.
That way you could watch episode 4 as it was intended to be, with no Greedo shooting first, and then shortly after that came the
special edition.
Yeah, special edition where you got a CGI Jabba the Hutt, you got a Greedo shooting first, you got all of the things that made everything not fun.
I knew I had these up here.
Oh yeah, those are the cool ones.
These are the ones. These are the ones you want. The blue box. The blue box.
You know what's fun to watch and kind of keep all that kind of thing in mind is Fanboys. We talked about it on the show not long ago, but it's like a story of these guys and they're trying to travel across the country to break into Skywalker Ranch so that they can watch episode 1 before anyone else. And you find out along the way that it's because one of their friends has cancer. They get caught. None of them are allowed to watch it except George Lucas is like, you know what, he can see it. And he watches the movie and he passes away before the actual release of episode 1. And everyone is there in costume. They're excited. They're ready for Star Wars. And they don't know that it's about to not be the same. They don't know that it's going to be terrible. And this movie was made after episodes 1, 2, and 3 were out. You know, it's there after everything had been out there. But it was a movie made about that enjoyment and love of the series and looking forward to it before you knew how it was going to be and before you had a chance to decide that it wasn't what it should be or what it wanted to be, because you weren't expecting galactic politics and
Senate.
Yeah, just boring 3 movies with emo Anakin. Instead, you were like, I'm going to learn about Vader as a child. I'm going to get
You're going to learn about
Star
pod
Wars.
racing.
Yeah. To be fair, pod racing is super sick, and on the original DVD release of episode 1, they have an extended pod race, and it's like, dude, don't, bruh, no way, because I'm talking about Quadaneros, my boy. If you play the pod racer game, Quadaneros, his pod.
Didn't the pod racer game come with literally every Nintendo 64 ever produced? They were just like, hey, have this one.
No, it was fun. You ever play the pod racer arcade game where you have to actually do the controls?
It's not fun.
It's not until you're good.
And also, Star Wars Episode 1 was almost directly responsible for the death of pinball. I don't know. That's a little fun fact that not a lot of people know about, but there was a system of re-engineered pinball machines called Pinball 2000 that came out that was going to be debuting in the year 2000,
with the video
and
screen?
had the video screen implemented, and they spent so much money on getting the licensing rights to Star Wars Episode 1, and it was going to be the launch title for this new campaign of pinball. And so Williams put all this money, all this engineering, all this getting the property rights for Star Wars Episode 1 before anybody had seen it. There it is right there. And then the movie came out and everybody was like, this movie's stupid. And then no one wanted to play this game. And it was pretty much the coffin nail for Williams' pinball program. And and yeah, so thanks Star Wars Episode 1 for ruining something I'm passionate about.
You know what Star Wars Episode 1 did do? It brought Ewan McGregor to a more broad audience and let him be in more things than just like Train Spotting. So, you know what? There you go. Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor, making it happen for those guys. Natalie Portman was given a career out of Episode 1.
Oh, yeah.
So there's some good stuff there.
There was good still left in it yet.
I like Ewan McGregor.
I mean, who doesn't like Ewan McGregor?
Turns out Natalie Portman is very intelligent and talented and can kind of just do whatever she wants to do. And
yeah, because she's a badass.
Yeah. So there you go. And Liam Neeson
Liam Neeson
is awesome in everything.
Vince says he knew a projectionist, so he saw Phantom Menace a few days before it was released, and he fell asleep, and he stands by his review.
And it gave us Duel of the Fates. Yeah. Johnny talking about the best lightsaber fight. Yeah, Duel of the Fates is awesome. And it gave us Ray Park as Darth Maul, and so many people think Darth Maul is cool for some reason. But Ray Park rules. That was better than his role as Toad.
Does he have a son?
I don't know.
Be Ray Park Jr.? A Ghostbusters joke. Okay. All right, guys. Well, we're approaching our hour time. We could talk about Star Wars literally for light years, but we're not going to do that. But may the 4th be with you. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Drive-In Speakerbox on your Facebook. Drive-In Speakerbox on your YouTube. We will see you guys next week.
See ya.